Greetings and welcome to the 10th episode of Oblivion House Mod Hunters, a series where we look at 3 different house mods every episode as we try and find your dream home in Cyrodiil. As always, I'm your host Dark Elf Guy, and today we have 3 magic-themed housing mods that should prove to be ideal for mages, wizards, sorcerers, warlocks, and, people of that nature. Now, someone did suggest that we should do a top 10 housing mods for the 10th episode. But truth be told, I've only played maybe 70 Oblivion House mods at this point, so I don't think I could come up with a decent top 10 list without at least playing a few hundred more at the very least. I mean, there are a lot of house mods out there, and it's really hard to come up with a top 10 list when you've played only a tiny fraction of them. Maybe we can do that for episode 30 or so. In any event, today's episode is going to be focused on magic-themed mods because I personally really like playing as a mage or a thief in Elder Scrolls games, so house mods that cater to that particular audience I think should be pretty well received. And in any event, you can also find the download links for each mod shown in the video description below. So why don't we just go ahead and get started with our popular house mod of the week, which this week is Mage's Sky House by TER, aka Blary. Now this is, as the name would imply, a house in the skies above Cyrodiil, and I have to say it's a rather breathtaking sight with a central house island surrounded by 3 smaller islands connected by walkways with a spinning disc below that, presumably keeps this home afloat. And the architecture here is a mixture of AoE architecture for the island's base, with the house itself being done in the coral upper class style. You can see down below that this lovely magical island is hovering above the Nibbin Bay, just over, the city of Breville a little bit. And to say the least, the views that this majestic house offers are practically unparalleled. You can see a massive part of Cyrodiil and the surrounding provinces from here, and you can even just, barely make out the Imperial City. And the courtyard and surrounding islands appear to be, ideally situated for taking in the view, with each providing a lookout over a great expanse of Cyrodiil. And there's also naturally several gardens around the central island, as well as a few fountains, like this dragon fountain over to the side. And there's even a hot bath that offers a pleasing view of Cyrodiil. If you just want to take a bath, sit back and relax, and just enjoy the sunset over the Cyrodiilic Empire, that is something you can do with this house, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And there's also a small reading platform over here with an oak tree, and it has benches underneath it that you can just, sit under and read and enjoy the view. And as if, all these great views weren't enough, there's this balcony where you can, just sit back and dine, and again, you never have to leave these fantastic views. And you can see the Sky House on the map here, and it does include a map marker for quick and easy transportation, plus it has a quick commute to Breville, so long as you don't mind, plummeting down into the bay below. Presumably the water is going to break your fall, but, it is a bit dangerous. And inside on the first floor, you'll find the dining room, including a fairly large table, capable of sitting several guests, as well as a model of the house and some lovely flowers to help bring the room together a bit. Also on the first floor here, you'll find the kitchen, which includes a small but cozy cooking area, and also a pantry full of dishware, so you'll never run out of dishes when you have company over, in case you are, one of those people who likes having a lot of NPCs over for dinner or something like that. And you also find a gate lever here, and this acts as a quick and instant transportation to any of the major cities in Cyrodiil, allowing you to walk through the door here to the city that you've chosen. And up on the second floor, you'll find a number of mage-themed guest bedrooms for any companions that you might have who also happen to be mage-like characters. Each room has a number of decorations, including bookshelves filled with books, alchemical equipment, and the occasional selection of soul gems. And you also find a general commons area up here, with a table where your guests can sit and read, perusing the book collection on hand, or sit around and enjoy the fireplace. And in total, there's about 3 guest bedrooms on the second floor, plus the commons and a few more, potted plants to spruce up the place. Now moving on to the top floor, you'll also find your private quarters, which includes a central display area with a number of display cases, and you also notice that there's a few weapons and artifacts along the walls here, but don't worry about those are static objects, so they won't unbalance your game or anything if you're playing through this mod at a low level. And this is a cozy space to store your magical trophies away from prying eyes. And through the door here we have a master bedroom, which naturally includes a bed, some interesting magical diagrams on the floor for some reason, some potted plants, a bit of extra storage and display space, and through the door here you'll find a portal down to your magical laboratory. And on the other side of the bedroom, you'll also find the study, which doubles as a small personal library, which is quite cosily finished to make you feel at home. And since we just looked at the study, I think it's worth checking out the laboratory next, which includes a full set of magical services. In the central room, you'll find an alchemy station, as well as an altar of enchanting and an altar of spellmaking, so you can work on all of your spells, brews, and enchanted items all in the same room. And off to the side here, you'll find a small alchemy garden, which includes a number of the more valuable ingredients in stock, so you won't have to travel far to get what you need. And there's also a small alcove library down here as well, just in case you need to do a little bit of research ahead of time. And something that's worth pointing out here is that the alchemy station is actually an activator, so you can brew potions without having to, grab all of the alchemical equipment in your inventory, which is just a convenient feature to have. And the house also comes equipped with a special apprentice quarters in addition to the normal guest bedrooms for your companions. So no master spellcraft is complete without an apprentice, and with these quarters your apprentice will have plenty of storage as well as a fully functional magical lab that they can use on their own. Now moving on, another lovely feature of this house mod is a fully fleshed out garden in the basement, complete with fountains and benches to just sit back and relax. And of course, this garden can also double as a second ingredient garden, ensuring you'll always have enough flaxseed for your potions and a fair amount of foxglove, and just a variety of different flowers that provide an assortment of commonly used alchemy ingredients, really. And plus, this is just a really, beautiful little spot to hang out in. And going on to a more atmospheric room that doesn't necessarily serve much of a practical purpose, the house does come with a full-scale bathroom, including a walk-in tub, and that's in addition to the hot bath out on the balcony overlooking Cyrodiil. And there's some really creative designs in use here as well, which are just, kind of neat looking. Now finally, one of the last things I want to show off here, the house does come with a full guard quarters. In fact, it comes with 2 guard quarters, one of which doubles as a training room, and in this one you'll find a common area with some dining space and a small guest library, and of course you also find a lot of guest beds as well, and truth be told, there should be enough beds for even the most companion-obsessive player. There's enough in this house to provide sleeping quarters for at least 16 or so companions. And anyway, in conclusion, this is just a really lovely and unique flying home above Cyrodiil that's ideally suited for just about any type of mage, wizard or warlock, with unparalleled views, a fair amount of storage and display space, and lots of guest bedrooms. It also comes with a large number of convenience features, such as a spell to teleport you back home at any time, a map marker, a quick commute to Reveal, not to mention a door that can open up to any city in Cyrodiil, 2 alchemy stations plus 2 altars of enchanting and spellmaking to ensure all of your magical needs are covered. And quite frankly, if you're playing a mage type character looking for some otherworldly house to rule from in isolation, it's really hard to top this one off, and you should definitely check it out. I mean, even if you're a mad wizard, that's bent on conquering Cyrodiil and raising a giant mage-like army, really this is just the perfect house mod for you. And anyway, just moving on, we have our new house mod of the week, and this week we have Mage's Rest by NellSpeed and RowanLeeves. And this house mod actually starts out with a quest given by a particular high elf waiting around in one of the numerous taverns of the Imperial City. He has a bit of a story to tell, and will offer you residence in his house if you can help him track down some ingredients for a particular type of spell. And this actually involves a fair amount of dungeon delving, which we won't be showing off here due to, spoilers and the like, but suffice to say, this might take you a little while. And there's also, quite a bit of dialogue associated with this quest, as well, if that's, something you like, with a lot of background story. And once you finish the quest, though, you'll have access to this house, an anvil-style upper-class manse near the Nibbin Bay and just down the road from Beville. It really isn't much to look at on the exterior, just a plain manor without a, whole lot of exterior landscaping, but the inside more than makes up for that. But real quick, you can see the house on the map here, and it doesn't include a map marker, at least as far as I can tell. But it is just a short commute away from Beville, so that's not, too much of a trek, really. And anyway, moving on to the interior side of things, the entry hall here is really quite something, with an ingredient garden including a lot of lovely flowers, as well as a central fountain, and, what kind of looks like a small goat wandering around amidst the butterflies in here. Which, I don't trust goats, but still, it's nice to have, I guess. And in the next room, you'll find a cozy, nicely decorated lounge with a few display cases and bookshelves for showing off items, though a lot of this is already decorated, and there's also a small dining room right here. And right next to the dining room is of course a small and really cozy kitchen with some pretty creative designs going on, particularly for this stovetop right here. And the last room on this floor is, I want to say, maybe a dressing room of some kind. At least there seems to be a dresser and mirror. Moving on, you'll also find a surprisingly well-finished basement below the house, including a main chamber with storage and display space, not to mention a cozy cooking fireplace with what looks like maybe cookies or muffins cooking on the rack there. And there's also a small workroom down here with clothing lines and a few crates and the like. And you'll also find a full-size bathroom down here, including a nice soaking tub that also doubles as a chair that you can sit in, an eternally running shower for whenever you just want to get wet, and of course there's all the other amenities associated with a bathroom, such as a towel rack, sink, there's even a few shampoo bottles in here, and of course a lavatory, and most of this isn't usable of course, but it does add to the immersion and role-playing aspects, I suppose. And there's also a large bedroom down here with a small garden, a lounge, a small shrine of some kind, which you can kind of see right here. And there's also a few display cases and storage containers, and also a small study area that includes an alchemy station. Much like the rest of the house, this room is pretty cozy and very well decorated to, sort of make you feel at home. And really, I just have to say that this house is, on the whole, pretty atmospheric, which is something I always enjoy. And going back upstairs to the second floor, you'll find a fairly large commons room with a roaring fireplace, a small lounge with a couple of chairs to sit around, and a small study space again with a desk and bookshelves. And there also appears to be a sidebar in this room, just in case you're in the mood for a drink. And, there also appears to be a few paintings from Morrowind in here as well, which as a Morrowind fan, I can certainly appreciate. There's also a small guest bedroom here on the side for any companions or NPCs that you might have with you, and it has the basic bedroom amenities that you might expect. And something you might notice is that there's a lot of notes and books scattered around the house, and if you read them, they actually tell a bit of a story that's spread out piecemeal throughout the entire home. In a way, it's kind of similar to that indie game Gone Home, but in a house mod for Oblivion. Now, the last room I want to show off here is the master bedroom, which technically belongs to a quest giver, the High Elf Mage, but I thought I'd show it off here anyway, because it's a nicely decorated room that's worth checking out, and it's, kind of unique and definitely interestingly finished. And anyway, in conclusion, Mage's Rest is a nice little house mod with a lot of cozy and atmospheric rooms that make it feel sort of lived in, which is something I always personally enjoy in my house mods. And while the exterior is, pretty barren, the warmth and decorative nature of the interior certainly makes up for that. And the house does come with a magical lab, including an alchemy station, as well as a guest bedroom for companions, a decent amount of storage and display space, and it does have a short commute to Breville. And this is just, a great house mod for, I'd say, role players in particular, and especially those who want to earn their houses through quests and dungeon delving, rather than, having your house just given to you for free, which is what a lot of house mods do, and I know some people don't like that. And finally, just moving on to our underrated house mod of the week, we have the Mage's House by Rad666A. Now, this is a small house that's not too far outside the Imperial City. In fact, you can see the white gold tower not too far off in the distance. And this is a medium to upper class home done in the Skiningrad architectural style, with an ingredient garden out back, a stables for storing your horse, and a small walled enclosure around the front yard. There's also a little telescope observatory area off to the side, and we kind of passed it up earlier, but there's also a well and training area out back with a spell target for practicing on. And it has to be said that this property does have some, really good views of the Imperial City as well, which is just a nice little bonus to have. And real quick, you can see the house on the map here, and it does include a map marker as well as a very short commute to the Imperial City. But one little caveat is that you do need to find the house first before it'll be marked on your map. But since it's so close to the Imperial City anyway, that shouldn't be, much of a problem. I mean, it's practically right next door to the bridge going into the Imperial City after all. And inside you'll find a, well, very cluttered house, I would say. Pretty much every foot of this place is covered in some sort of debris of scrolls, books, and magical items. You can definitely tell that an eccentric wizard type fellow lived here at one point, and in any event, on the first floor you'll find a study and a dining room, both very cluttered, and a small note I should make here is that the majority of items here are actually static items. That means you can't actually move them, which does help to keep the mod balanced and also prevents items from flying around everywhere with Oblivion's ridiculous physics engine, but does mean you're pretty much stuck with all the pre-decorated mess. But moving on, upstairs on the second floor you'll find the magic lab, including a sizable library, a guest bed, an alchemy station, as well as a few containers that you can use for storage and the like, unless you want to just, add to the mess by throwing everything on the ground, which would probably just fit in perfectly at this point. And on the third floor, you'll find the master bedroom, which includes a number of surprisingly empty display cases, as well as a globe of Tamriel, more books because, there's books everywhere, and also the master bed, naturally. Anyway, going back downstairs real quick, something to point out here is that the alchemy station is of course an activator that you can use without having to use alchemy equipment in your inventory, and another cool feature is that the globe of Tamriel can actually teleport you to any of the mages guilds in any of the cities in Cyrodiil, and there's also one more cool feature to mention here, which is a spellbook that will allow you to train your skills in a variety of different magical subjects. And the very last thing I want to show off here is that this house does come equipped with a separate storage room for ingredients, including labeled ingredient containers for just about every ingredient in the game. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't include an ingredient sorter, but still, it does come in handy for visually organizing your ingredients before, making a batch of potions or something of that nature. And all in all, the Mage's House is a somewhat eccentric house mod with a lot of decorations, but a very cozy atmosphere and a ton of convenience features, including an alchemy lab, enchanting and spellmaking altars, fast travel across Cyrodiil, ingredient containers, and a map marker, not to mention a short commute to the Imperial City with some pretty good views of the lake. And this is another good role-playing housing mod, especially, if you're playing an eccentric wizard or some mad Telvanni lord who likes to live in Imperial dwellings for whatever reason, and it's definitely worth checking out. And that pretty much wraps up this episode of Oblivion House Mod Hunters. Hopefully you found a few of these house mods interesting, and in any event, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time with our next batch of mods.